Hello there. I had to get in there just before we start. You watch a PC Jack, and welcome to Tech Flashback, a PC gaming and hardware news live show focused on the biggest stories of the past week. As usual, I'm joined by my guest Jerry, and we got a lot we're going to be going through today, and I'm very excited to chat about our opening topic. But before we begin, how are you doing, Jerry?
I'm doing pretty good. Glad to be back on here. Crazy week, but you know how it is.
What's been going on in the world of Jerry then?
Just trying to get these reviews out. I've been working a lot of overtime. Remember I told you my coworker's on vacation?
Oh,
So,
of course, yes, you've been working even more than normal then. So,
oh yeah, oh yeah.
getting that dollar in anyway, that's the most important thing. Especially when you got to pay for these graphics cards. I can see you raking in, and all that. But how are you getting on with? Can I reveal it?
Yeah, go for it.
You sure now? I don't want to spoil the surprise. But how is the RTX 3090 Ti treating you so far?
Pretty good so far. I need to test it in 4K. Tested it in 1440p already. So when we're
Okay.
done with this, I'll probably do that.
Like, without going into too much details, obviously you don't want to spoil the actual review, but like, first impressions, like, out of the box? Not out of the box, but like, your first impressions right out of the gate.
Um, Surprisingly, it's a lot cooler than I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna run hot. And
Okay.
so far it's been running around like 61 to 68 degrees.
That's not bad. What about the memory temperatures? How are those looking?
Hold on. And I do have the fan set up to like 70 though. So that's probably why it's kind of cool.
Oh
But
yeah, that'll probably do it anyway, but that's got a bit of a larger fan compared to the standard FE cooler, I believe.
yeah. Yeah. It's huge. It's it's a huge card. Hold on. Let
It's
me check
literally the
it out.
same, I think it's the same cooler design as the 3090, I'm guessing, isn't it?
Yeah, I would assume so. I think it's the same size. I'm not too sure. I haven't got a 3090 yet, but I would just assume everything inside's beef here. It's heavy. It's heavy.
I
I'll
noticed
tell you
that with
that.
my, well, even with my 3080, it is a bit of a chunky card, like, just in terms of, like, sheer weight. But, like, I do think that they did change the cooling slightly different, like, making it slightly different for the actual memory. Did they put it all on the same side? I think it's all on the actual front side of the GPU now. I'm not 100% sure. Because originally it was a bit of combo, like, so on the front side and the back side they had for the GDDR6X memory modules. I might be
I'm
wrong
not
though,
too sure.
I can't remember.
I, I haven't taken it apart, so I can't tell you on that.
Well, I don't know if you'll be wanting to do that quite now. This is a bit of a hassle, I would say. But, no, so
How is
when...
your I was gonna say, how is your 3080 doing since you did that mod?
It's been totally fine, to be honest. The increase in temperatures wasn't that great. Not increase, like the decrease, rather.
That decrease?
It did
Yeah.
work, but still, it was still an experience anyway. But it's definitely working, because I've been using it in my mini ITX rig for about, well, about a month, I think, something like that. And even in there, temperatures are totally fine. Now, the case I have does have intakes pointed directly at it, so that probably does help a little bit, but it's been totally fine, and I haven't had any issues with the memory overheating. It has been better than what it was previously,
That's
but
really good. Is it more
what
stable, or have you noticed you haven't really
just
noticed a
as stable
difference?
as it was before. But if I was to choose where I do it again, I probably wouldn't. Like, I don't think that it was that much of a benefit. I think I'd rather just run out the warranty, and if, well, not run out the warranty, but if there was an issue, rely on the warranty, I suppose. But either way, it was still an experience just to actually take it apart and just get my hands dirty with it, I suppose.
I wanted to ask you, what do you think about turning the fans up? What's your cooling preferences?
It does depend. So, if I'm talking about my main rig next to me right now, I've kind of got them fairly balanced out, and they don't get very high. That's partially because I've got two huge 180mm fans for intake, so I can run those pretty slow and get a massive amount of airflow through my system. And then just two intakes at the bottom and one exhaust in the rear, and it's all fairly low. I can't give you the exact fan curve off the top of my head, but I keep it pretty quiet because I do play with speakers sometime on my desk. It depends if I'm in the mood for having headphones on or not. So I keep my main system pretty quiet, but If we're talking about my mini ITX rig, I can have my fans a bit more aggressive, only because I can't hear it over the TV, if that makes sense. So I kind of like, I'll blast it in there, I don't really care too much, and especially because it's small form factor, the additional airflow is going to be pretty useful, and if it comes at the cost of noise, then so be it. But yeah, it's not, I don't have to run it excessively loud or anything, but I find it fine. What is it like for you?
I turn them up. I don't mind well, I have headphones on when I play on PC. People on YouTube probably can't see, but I got like 8 fans back there, plus the GPU fans all the way. Those are up too, so that's making a lot more noise than my PC is making. So
Is it
I
that
don't mind
audible though?
With what, my PC or the
The mining rig.
Yeah, definitely is. I could hear it. Yeah, I can't hear my main rig, but I can hear the. Well, let's see if I can get any close. It's the closest I can get with it. Why am I not? Can you hear it or not?
No, I can't quite hear it. I believe you though. I'll take your word for it. But
Alright, then I guess it's not too bad, huh?
no, it must be all right then. I'm guessing. But I'm not that much of like like not that worried about noise. Like if it's doing the job and keep things cool, I'm happy. If it was a bit excessive, then maybe I'd be a bit more concerned. But I'm totally fine with it as it is in my main rig as well as the mini ITX one. My one to be a bit more interesting is my passive TrueNAS. Now it's got a passive CPU cooler, but it's got a couple of fans in there just to get a bit of additional airflow. But they're running at the lowest speed possible, and they do absolutely fine as they are. Because I can't remember exactly how many there are, but there's a couple of NFA12s, the classic brown beige Noctua fans in there, and I just got them running at the lowest speed possible without them actually just turning off from being too idle, and does the job really fine. And the system is literally, well, it's not silent only because it's got 4 mechanical drives in there. So if there's some activity, you can hear the drives over the fan noise, but it's not too bad. It's nothing like too severe anyway. But no, I find it alright to be fair. But yeah, so going back to the 3090 Ti though, when are we thinking we're gonna see a bit of this this bad boy?
Friday.
This Friday.
Yeah, if everything goes to plan, which it should, but a lot of scrambling.
Of course, and balancing that with work and whatnot as well is a big challenge anyway, I'm guessing. But in terms of PC Jack stuff going on, it's a bit quiet this week, but the giveaway actually finished on, I say Monday, it was midnight, midnight Monday the giveaway finished, so all the submissions came in, and the actual video where I'm judging everyone's setups is finished. So that'll be going up tomorrow, about 5 o'clock UK time, and it's really good. I quite enjoyed going through everyone's setups. I couldn't fit everyone's builds or everyone's setups into the video because the video would have been like over an hour long. But I managed to condense it to 20 minutes, and I think I got the some of my favorites. But obviously everyone was entered in anyway because it was a random draw, and I do have the winner. And I'll wait until when the video goes live to announce who it is. I will mention that Jerry, you are in the video. But I had to make sure people knew that you were not eligible for the prize because of your affiliation with the channel. So I'll reward you in other ways. Let's put it at that anyway. But I had a nice little. The one thing I did need to check on is what GPU did you have in the picture you submitted? It was the one that had the monitor on the side of the card.
There was a monitor on the side of the card.
Hmm.
That would have been the 3070 Ti if it had the.
The monitor on the side of it.
No, yeah, no, that was my 6800 XT, the Sapphire Nitro Plus.
Ah, right, there we go. That's fine. I might have mocked the logo a little bit and be like, oh, you don't want a car with top 3 tech on it, but I was only joking. But yeah, so that'll be going live tomorrow, and the winner will be notified at the same time. But I was quite happy with it. It's a bit different. I didn't want to be too judgmental of people's setups, but I try to give some strong. Some pros and cons and stuff like that, and yes, I'm looking forward to it. But there's some.
I'll probably make a video. I'll probably make a video of me judging you judging the PCs.
It's judgeception.
Yeah.
I would look forward to seeing that. But we have to get to the topic of hand because we did discuss this a few weeks ago, but we said we would reserve our overall thoughts for the actual like end of the series. But Obi-Wan Kenobi. Let's keep things really simple to start out. Rating out of 10, starting with yourself, Jerry.
Are we gonna give a spoiler warning?
Oh yeah, that's a very good idea, guys. We are going to talk spoilers. I think we did say we were going to reserve this for this episode, and it has been over a week, well, nearly a week since it came out, and I do think that it is nigh time that we just absolutely get into it and see exactly what we liked and what we disliked about it. So, spoiler warning: if you haven't seen Obi-Wan Kenobi, we are going to talk spoilers. So, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, spoilers. We're going to talk spoilers right now. Your rating out of 10.
I gave it a 7. 7 out of 10.
That's respectable. That's fine.
You want to explain? I'll explain why after we get your rating. We'll go into our.
That's fine. Before we get into it, though, I'm going to just pay a little bit of attention to the chat and say hello to Sean Chung, who is actually my team leader in work. So nice to see him stopping by and saying hello. Hope you're doing well, Sean, and also enjoying your session of Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, which I got set up on his laptop the other day, so he's having an absolute blast on that at the moment, I'm guessing. So thanks for stopping by.
He's a hard worker. He's one of the best.
I try my best. But yeah, so my rating out of 10 for Obi-Wan Kenobi. 7.5 or maybe an 8.
Okay. 7.5 or 8. Which one? You gotta go on one, man.
Have I got to commit? Okay, I'll go for 8 then. I'll say 8. Okay. So before I get into it, give me your if you had to give me like a short paragraph with like your overall thoughts, what would it be on the series as a whole?
The better parts were Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. Not only like obviously individually, but their scenes together were probably the better ones. You know, that's the best part of the show. I kind of wish that's one of the reasons why it's a little lower too. I kind of wish they interacted more, but obviously you can't indulge in too much. What else did I like about it? I like the rest of the characters that aren't from like the canon.
Okay.
It was nice to see. It was nice to see different characters. It's a huge galaxy, you know. It's always like they always bump into each other. It's kind of like really, like the whole 9 episodes.
I'm quite happy they weren't on Tatooine the entire time, because I think we're all getting a bit tired of a sand planet, which is basically in every single series we're seeing at the moment. So I think that's a good start that they got off that planet for most of the series. But yeah, I think that was the main thing. Like, obviously they couldn't have Darth Vader and Obi-Wan just at it every single episode. But I do feel like for me, a lot of people had some very valid criticisms of the series as a whole, but I feel for me, I was still seeing a lot of it through like nostalgic eyes. As obviously, like I would have seen not the prequels, the originals first, but like I grew up watching the prequel trilogy, so I'm obviously gonna have a bit of bias there, I would say, because it's what I grew up on. So seeing those characters back together again after, what's it been, 17 years, I think, since Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah.
So seeing them together back after that long is just like a bit mind-blowing for me, to be honest. And just seeing Ewan McGregor back in what is probably his best role, I would say. His role is he's mimicking Alec Guinness, which is a pretty big role, but I really enjoyed bits where we were paying off that nostalgia, especially that episode where they were flashing back to when they were practicing with their lightsabers on Coruscant. I think it was on that planet, and the way that they were planning out the fight and the way it was like sort of choreographed was corresponding to the present conflict. Do you know what I mean from that episode?
With Anakin, right, and Obi-Wan.
That's it. So they were like saying like, "Oh, you need to be like 3 steps ahead" or something like that. Or then Anakin thinks he's got the upper hand on him, but then suddenly he realizes, oh, he's forgotten about this. But they were like flashing back and forth between that and what's going on in the present, and showing how things are like almost exactly the same. But it was really mind blowing to see Hayden Christensen after so long, because I feel he doesn't do anything anymore. It's just
he's kind of chilled out. He did that jumper movie, is all I could think of, and
yeah, but that was like 2005, I think. It was quite a while ago.
And then that too was kind of funny to see him, because it was supposed to be like in the past, and he was a little older. You know?
Oh yeah, he was looking a bit ropey, I think.
Yeah, and I was just I was just laughing, but you know what? I didn't mind it because, like you said, it's the original actors. So seeing that, I figured if I can get past the rest of the stuff not being realistic, it's a space fantasy. I was like, I could just in my head just put this to the side and just imagine that he's younger.
That's right. I can get on board with that. That's fine. One of the major things. So I don't want to be. I don't want to just like absolutely praise the hell out of the series. I do need to recognize where it like suffered a little bit. What was your thoughts on the little girl playing Princess Leia? I can't remember the actress's name, but
Yeah,
generally,
I
what
don't
you
know her
thought of
name.
the performance?
I mean, she's a good actress for her age, but I just didn't like. I guess not that she was bossy, but everyone just pretty much listened to her, and it's just like, hey, this is a little kid, man. Like
That
in
is
real life,
Princess Leia, though. That is the thing.
yeah. But
I
I
have
feel
a
like in
feeling
real life, everyone would be like, shh, hey, we need to do this.
like
But
simmer down a little bit.
yeah.
But I feel like Carrie Fisher would have really liked her as Princess Leia. But so I thought it worked. There were like bits where she was sort of struggling a little bit, but we do have to give her credit where credit's due and say that like, look, she is like 10, maybe even younger. I don't know how old she was.
Yeah.
So props to her on there, considering like Luke, the kid who played Luke didn't even have any like speaking roles. I don't think in the show.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I don't remember hearing them either.
no, I don't think he said much at all in that. But no, I thought they were both okay in their own right. But they did have that really weak scene where Princess Leia was getting chased through the woods by Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers, which is a bit strange. I don't know how a couple of grown adults could not catch a little girl running rather slowly throughout the woods, but it is what it is, I suppose. If you got to build that sort of conflict, but that was probably the weakest part I found. It sounds really harsh to say, but the weakest part for me probably would have been Princess Leia. But
Yeah. And
it is what it is.
That scene has to be up there with some bad Star Wars stuff. But you know what? You can't have some good Star Wars without some bad stuff in it. That's kind of its charm.
Well, are we all forgetting about the holiday special?
Yeah, dude, I never seen that, and I don't know if I'm ever gonna see that.
I have no
If you
plans
even
to
can.
watch it. But Evans Dial. Unfortunately, I watched the first episodes of Obi-Wan and got too bored to watch the good ending. Well, I'd say there was some parts where you may not have got on with it as well as it could have been, but I feel like they did pay off and visit some story points that we hadn't actually thought we would see after Revenge of the Sith or preceding A New Hope. But so there's something just about Ewan McGregor saying hello there that just pays it off for me completely. Just like every week I was like, is he gonna say it? Is he gonna say the line?
I liked the part too when it was him and Leia, and they were like in the back of the truck, and they were just talking, and Ewan McGregor explained he has a brother, and he was just talking and explaining more about his life. And I was like, yeah, this is the stuff I wanted to see, them expanding the lore a bit, expanding on Obi-Wan.
No,
So
he
I
did.
like that.
Sorry, go on.
I would say, and then the storyline too when it went to the Inquisitors. I mean, they were interesting, but not. I wish they either had their own show or featured a little less, because I kind of want. It is called Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I could see that, and I feel I was like when they killed off the Grand Inquisitor in the second episode, I think it was. I was kind of like, okay, and I'm pretty sure he was still around in the canon after like that period. So I was like, he's not dead, is he? Then he turned up in like episode 5, I want to say, and I was like, oh no, who saw that coming? Oh, but
apparently they all can survive a stabbing by a lightsaber. A lot of people return after being.
It cauterizes the wound. That's what it is. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
But I really thought like that. If we're talking about when it was Darth Vader versus Raver, when he had the 2 lightsabers, I thought he's gonna do a Palpatine. He's gonna just like decapitate, just go all in on it. But he didn't. He just went for the stab. So I was like, oh, okay, that's fair enough. But yeah. Evans does bring up a really good point on here, though. He's saying about Obi-Wan. So also, he was one of the greatest hero generals of the Clone Wars. He ended the war by killing Grievous, so nobody recognizes him. Well, you could argue maybe he's aged a little bit, but like he doesn't look drastically different to how he did 10 years ago if you look in the canon. So I think we have to maybe suspend our disbelief a little bit, I'm guessing. I think
Maybe he used his force powers and cloaks them. I don't know. Yeah,
Well, if you look at what he's supposed to look like in 10 years' time, he's completely gone grey and turned into Alec Guinness. So I think he's doing pretty well at the moment. But no, so
and then too, everyone forgets about the Jedi in like 10 years, all the Jedi. So maybe they just got rid of all the history books and all that. Because I mean, it is technically a big galaxy.
I do
I don't
find it strange how
know.
quickly they seem to have forgotten that Jedi's existed after the prequels. Like in originals,
Yeah,
they seem to have no idea what they are, as if like it's a complete like urban legend type thing.
yeah, yeah. Like they're a myth, right?
Exactly. So I don't know why it's suddenly like they can remember. I don't know. But overall, I would say I came out of it and saw the things that I was hoping to see, and there's a couple of pleasant surprises. There's a couple of things that weren't quite what I was wanting to see, but overall, I was generally pleased. And I got to give props to Liam Neeson for returning after over 20 years, to just for like a little cameo at the end, just to be like, oh, well, you just weren't looking for me right the whole time. So I was like, okay, that's nice to see him show up. So it's nice that Liam Neeson did decide, right, this is the time just to show up, just for a brief thing, but I think it kind of paid off in the end. But am I right in thinking, so you know they have this whole thing with like Force ghosts? Are they trying to get the idea across that that kind of power was discovered by Qui-Gon? Like he was the only one ever to discover it at the time?
I don't know. It's hard to say he's the only one to discover it, but maybe he discovered like the text or some history on it, and he studied it, and maybe he's the only one that figured it out in a while or found some hidden.
So I
cave.
feel like it was implied that he was the one who discovered it, and then he started teaching everyone how to do it, which is like, okay, fine. But anyway, yeah. So
I'd say, but Yoda knows it.
well, that's what
So
I thought.
Qui-Gon
I thought they implied that Qui-Gon taught Yoda how to do it then, but I'm not sure. Anyway, but that's my general take on it. But like you said, you gave it a 7 out of 10, so you that's a moderately positive response, I would argue. So how would you top it off?
I would say, like I said, it was mostly positive, and then the scene when they're like escaping in that little tunnel or the little mine or the little cave, whatever it was, and they're getting a shootout with the stormtroopers, and they're like 10 feet apart, and everyone's just missing.
It's
And
stormtroopers.
I was like,
what do you expect?
I know,
Sure.
but I was expecting the stormtroopers to go ham, because you know how in like episode 4, well 1, I don't know, episode 4 of Star Wars, he says that they're like the most ruthless, like elite of the elite. I was like, oh, maybe this is the scene where he sees them kill everyone. He's like, oh shit,
But
they
not.
are crazy. Yeah, but like I said, the Darth Vader scenes were awesome, especially the last scene with both of them.
Oh yeah,
And,
I
like,
did really enjoy that. The one
the
bit,
Hayden
like not that
Christensen.
episode, but I think it was the one prior where Darth Vader stopped the ship. I let out like literally an audible gasp, like what? That was a bit bizarre. And then he just opened the ship like a can of tuna, and then there was a ship right behind him. He was like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
that's gone.
see, that's what I'm saying. Like the whole show is like they show good scenes and then they show that. It's like, all right, that's convenient. Good thing Vader didn't see that, or good thing he's tired, or he could only do that real quick. But I don't know that last conversation he has with Obi-Wan, and they mix his voice and the James Earl Jones. I was like, all right.
And he's got the half face that's like smashed because the mask has been broken as well. I thought that was cool. I thought it would have been
Yeah.
even better if, like, because he said something about like Obi-Wan, you didn't kill me, as Anakin's voice, and then it
Yeah.
should have switched to Darth Vader's voice when it says like I did. I thought that would have been pretty cool. That's going a bit too deep into it, but that fight overall was pretty good. Not quite as good as their fight in Revenge of the Sith, I would say, but either way, it was still pretty epic. And where Obi-Wan Kenobi went full on like airbender like style with like the rocks like lifting up behind him, I was like, that's pretty hardcore. I can get on board with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it was nice to see him use the Force because a lot of times he doesn't really go too crazy with it. He just does like pushes and pulls. So
Exactly. He went a bit all out in this series though, because he stops the water when the glass breaks. He managed to do that part with the Force. Yeah, but the bit with the rocks I thought was pretty cool anyway. But yeah, there's rumors they're gonna do a season 2. I'm not quite sure where they could take it now. I'd be interested to see. But the next one they've got now is going to be Andor, which is focusing on that guy from Rogue One. Did you see that one?
Yeah, I saw Rogue One. I don't remember the name of the character. Which one is that?
I can't remember the name of the actor, but I think he was in Narcos Mexico. He's one of the actors from there. I'll try and
Oh,
find him
okay.
after. But
He was like the main character.
was that
He's like the main character.
in Andor he's supposed to be.
Okay.
But I'm not quite sure on the overall plot of it. But I know that's the next thing coming up for now, though. But yeah, I'm missing out on Obi-Wan on Wednesdays now in favor of Miss Marvel, which is pretty good. I'm getting on with it at the moment. Have you been watching Miss Marvel?
No, I haven't. I was eventually going to. I caught up on The Boys.
The Boys is last week's episode was absolutely mental. I don't think I can talk too much about it without getting demonetized in this episode, though. So maybe we'll do the same thing for The Boys when that finishes. We could try and have like a moderately PG-13 discussion on The Boys, because there's a bit more going on with that. But no, I wanted to have a good chat about Obi-Wan. I feel like we've got that. So should we get into some news topics for today, Jerry?
Yeah, I'm done with that.
Let's do it. So this one is a little bit older at this point, but it's still one that I feel I need to bring up because it's something I think we should have all known by now, but also something that is also a bit disheartening to see. And that is... Todd Howard says Fallout 5 is coming after The Elder Scrolls 6, if we all live that long. So, I feel like it was no surprise that we were going to get a Fallout game coming soon, like Fallout 5. But obviously, the way that Bethesda works is not quite the way you would want it to work if you wanted to get a Fallout game anytime soon. But let's take a look at what this article says. So, hope you like Fallout 76 because it's likely going to be the Fallout game, maybe the only Fallout game for the next decade. That's very disheartening to read. In an interview with IGN, Bethesda's Todd Howard stated that Fallout 5 will follow The Elder Scrolls 6, which is still in pre-production. It's a long way off, in other words, just a twinkle in Todd's eye. So they do try to sum it up quite well here with like a sort of like example of their past releases. The audio is off. Why would the audio be off if I just open a web page? It's coming through on here. What's going on? Can you hear me now? We might have to do this without the articles, Jerry. Something crazy is going on with our Linux installation. Well, I don't think is your audio even coming through? Let's have a look. Let's figure this out. I know what's happened. I'm gonna on the spot. I fixed this now. So what I did was I sorted the audio in our joint screen, but not in there. How about now? Is that working again?
Do I sound good? Does he sound good?
You're coming up in my EQ, so that should mean we're looking okay. Can hear, but it's an echo. Right, that's probably because of me. Let's fix that. Let's swap my mic on there. Let's go for... let's go.
Hey, quick question while you're doing that.
Yep.
How hot is it over there where you're at?
It's fairly warm. It's been pretty warm over here lately. Let me know in the chat now. I think we're sounding good. Evan says we're sounding good. Right, so we might be okay now. So, tell you what we're going to do. This is one thing we should bring up from last week. We did have a lot of trouble with the stream setup. Now I can't hear. There is some delay. Right. How about now? We're going to go back to the other screen and we'll figure out how we can use things on there. So...
Said it's good.
Right. I'm not touching anything. We're going to leave it at that for now. So last week we did have a lot of trouble with my Linux install. For some reason it's just having an absolute nightmare with OBS at the moment. So I suppose it's going to give you something to talk about in the next part. We'll leave it at that. If you want to I don't need to rely too much on the articles. I kind of know roughly what we're going through. So that's fine. So yeah. So getting back to what we were on for talking about Fallout. Yeah. As mentioned, his message is arriving late. That might be just because of the... because I've got... Is it slow mode enabled? No, I'm not sure. But anyway, back to the episode.
I would say, yeah, Evan's dial. That's just a YouTube feature. I think.
Yeah, what's it called? It's there's a particular name for it. I can't remember. It's so you can choose the stream latency. But for now though, we're gonna leave things as is because things were working for that whole discussion about Obi-Wan. So we'll figure it out when we get to it. But anyway, so look at it here on the example now. So going back to how it is for Fallout. So if you look back at their previous releases, so they had Fallout 3 in 2008, and then Elder Scrolls 5 in 2011. So you got a 3-year gap there, which is that's kind of okay. And then a 4-year gap between that and Fallout 4, and then a 3-year gap between Fallout 76, which is like, well, obviously that's developed outside of Bethesda themselves. But then Starfield 2023. So between that and Fallout 4, that's like an 8-year gap. That's getting pretty long by now, and we don't even know when Elder Scrolls 6 is being released, and then we're waiting for Fallout 5. So at this point, we're going to be seeing Fallout 5 in like the 2030s, which sounds absolutely insane.
Yeah, it says on here that the Elder Scrolls 6 is arriving before 2027 at the absolute earliest, which means Fallout 5 is likely a game for the early 2030s.
So at that point, like, literally, I'll be like, I could be 40 the next time a Fallout game comes out, which sounds absolutely absurd. Well, what were you thinking on this, Jerry? I know it seemed pretty obvious we were going to get a Fallout game coming up sometime soon, but
well, with that next game that you're looking forward to, I feel like that's going to take up a good amount of time, and that's going to be similar-esque to Fallout, hopefully, or maybe.
That's true. Yeah, and especially like if there's a lot of content they can add in with mods as well, that'll probably increase the lifespan of it even more. But I have a sneaky suspicion that it might not be that long. I feel like they are going to hand off Fallout a little bit to another developer. The same way they did with Fallout New Vegas, which went to Obsidian. That could be an interesting idea. Especially because Obsidian is owned by Microsoft as well as Bethesda. So it is possible. Like, they could potentially do it. And obviously, a lot of people are craving like a New Vegas 2. And if they could get Obsidian to do like, not New Vegas 2, but something similar along those lines, I'm sure people would be more than happy anyway with that. But
and also Elder Scrolls 6, if it comes out earlier than Fallout, I feel like that'll probably carry a lot of time as well. Skyrim, jeez, how many remakes have they made of Skyrim already? That game was pretty awesome.
A lot, but like people still play that. Like I play it from time to time still. It's one of my favorite games. But if they went on to Elder Scrolls 6, then that's gonna be played for another decade plus as well anyway. So I don't think that people be worried so much on that. But the people who are looking for more Fallout content may be a bit slacking at the moment. But I don't even know if he even needed to mention that they were going to be working on a Fallout 5, because we knew they were in the first place, I think. So I don't know like why we should think any differently of it, but still, this was a couple of weeks ago. This was when they were talking about Starfield pretty extensively, but I still thought it'd be worth bringing up in today's episode anyway. But
that's funny. You're like, I don't know why they're talking about Fallout 5, and then here we are talking about Fallout 5.
See, it's the meta of the entire thing. It's like completely absurd. But something I do have a little bit more to discuss, especially because of some other news, which isn't so much tied with this topic. But Jay, would you like to go over the news regarding the Steam Deck 2 and what we're learning about that at the moment?
So GRU3D.com says that AMD APU for Steam Deck 2 would get Zen 4 and RDNA 3. Valve has already announced that the replacement to the Steam Deck is in the works. A new AMD APU dubbed the Van Gogh successor is in the works. The new device is said to be a scaled-down version of AMD's Phoenix Point APU, which blends the company's future Zen 4 CPU architect with the RDNA 3 GPU architect. So, let's see what else it says. The little Phoenix is smaller than Van Gogh, but its CPU can reach speeds of up to, it just says gigahertz, rather than the current model's 3.5 gigahertz. They didn't put a number there. So
I must say I probably didn't carefully vet this article, but like I know we had a bit of a gist of what it's just something to refer to. Like I can't even show it in the stream apparently because OBS doesn't like it in Linux. But it is the one thing is obviously this is a leak. This is what we need to like address first. It is a leak and we can't take it like as it should be. But it is interesting. Like the idea of a Steam Deck 2 is even more like appealing than the idea of like the original Steam Deck, because it means that Valve are committing to something, which is something I feel that they struggle to do with their hardware. Besides, maybe the developments on this second VR headset we've heard rumors of, but like a Steam machines and like the Steam controller, they're very quickly to just disregard that if they can't put in the actual time for it. But the idea that there's going to be a Steam Deck 2 is a very interesting proposition. So
Yeah, I would say it's kind of crazy because I haven't even got my Steam Deck yet, so that sucks.
but there
Haven't
is
even
there
get
is some news on that I will mention just in a second once we've gone through this. But the idea that they could do a Steam Deck 2 with some interesting revisions, like you said, they were thinking about maybe doing it with a Zen 4 design. Did it say?
Yeah, the Zen 4 CPU with RDNA 3 GPU architecture.
So that'll be interesting because I know that we are expecting to see some increases in power consumption when it comes to Zen 4 as well. So how they can keep things efficient when it comes to the power consumption for a handheld on a new architecture is going to be interesting in itself. But for graphics, what was it saying? It was RDNA 3 graphics, RDNA 2. Do you remember what it was?
I'm sorry, you cut out right there.
Oh, I cut out. What about now?
Okay, yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, so what graphics did it say it's rumored to include?
This new device, it says RDNA 3. So that would
RDNA
be
3, right, okay. So that put
yeah,
it
so that'd be the
fairly
next gen.
current. But AMD are obviously doing pretty well when it comes to low power draw for their top draw components. So for this kind of device, that is really ideal. But again, we got to take it with a pinch of salt. But the one is a promising idea that Valve can commit to something, and hopefully developers will start to create their games with the Steam Deck in mind, which is a really interesting prospect to see. And we're already seeing it like with what game did I see the other day? It might have been a Final Fantasy remake, which was announced at the Capcom conference, and they specifically mentioned like this will run on the Steam Deck. Like they did make a point of that, which I thought was pretty interesting. And you are seeing a couple of other developers say out of the gate, oh, this will run on the Steam Deck. It's great on deck, as what Valve refers to it, which I find really cool. So if we can see more developers thinking about the Steam Deck when they're creating their games, that's going to be a very interesting time. But so are you going to commit to your Steam Deck 1 order, or would you wait for a Steam Deck 2?
Well, they say the Steam Deck 2 is a little smaller. I'm not too sure. I'll probably we'll see. I'll probably end up getting the Steam Deck 1, but we'll see.
See, I don't mind the large size though, because I've got very bad eyes at times, so bigger screen is always better for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd rather have a bigger screen, honestly, because why not?
Because that's one of the bigger criticisms some people have. They say, oh, it looks too big, if you compare it to the Nintendo Switch. But from what I've seen, comparisons, it looks like a better screen in my opinion, in terms of sizing. But yeah, the one thing I don't know if it sounds like you haven't heard the news regarding Steam Deck orders or reservations. Did you see what was tweeted out yesterday by Valve?
That Q3 productions are ramping up. That they're gonna be making more units.
That's it. So what are you looking at in your reservation at the moment? Are you Q3 or after Q3 at the moment?
I don't even remember what it is anymore. I think it was Q3, but maybe Q4.
I gotta be honest, that's a good way of going about it though, because then you're not sat there going oh, is it coming? I don't know. Am I gonna get that email? So at least it'll be a bit more of a surprise to you then. But I'm in the Q3 list because I ordered it was the 17th of July last year. So seeing that tweet, it makes me feel like I could be seeing it sooner rather than later. I don't know. I know they've got a lot of these bots that'll tell you a rough estimate of the sort of time frame you can expect it, but I don't want to do it because then it'll probably be really disappointing and say don't expect it until September or October. I'm well, that's a bit saddening to hear that. So I'm not going to do any of that where you can find out through the calculator. But no,
always, I'll believe it when I see it. You know.
Exactly. Well, that's why I quite like that you said you're just going to wait and see when it shows up and just take it from there. But it's pretty promising, to see that they are that confident in their supply at the moment to actually increase the amount of orders going out. And also starting a day before they normally do. Because they normally do emails on a Monday and a Friday. So they said they're going to start from Thursday. So it sounds like they're going to be doing it more throughout the week as well. So at that rate, we could see the line sort of go down pretty significantly, I would expect. Which is always good news, but I'm really excited to get my hands on one. The only thing I'm having a crisis on is I have to look at it I want one, because I want one for myself. I want to play on the go with any of my games from my Steam library. But I'm also trying to look at it how I can use it as a content creator, because reviews went live in like February, so a lot of people have got their content out there, and by the time I get this, are people going to be as interested in watching stuff on it? I think they will, but it depends what you do with it. So I think one of the things I'm going to do, I think will be quite cool, is I'm going to do a live unboxing and initial setup on stream. So I thought, literally just, show myself unboxing it, get my first impressions, raw reaction to it on stream, I thought would be quite fun. I don't know if I'll do, full... What's that?
I would say, if you're going to receive yours, people are going to be receiving theirs as well. And they're going to start looking up stuff for it, because they're going to be interested in, what they're getting, so...
That's true. I can see that.
Even if it is a little older content, just do it. Do what you feels right, man. Do what feels right to you.
Well, I want to try and think of non-traditional ways of creating content out of it, but I know a stream doing an unboxing isn't that untraditional, but it'd still be quite cool because I can literally my reaction will be the first reaction anyone else would see on that stream. But where I do a full-on review, I don't know. I probably would, but I'm not sure how I would do it.
I can make a video saying how great is the Steam Deck for restroom use, and I'll just go and plop in the restroom and just record myself from the Skycam.
Yeah.
Nothing's showing. And then just see wow, yeah, it's pretty great for the restroom because I've been in here for 2 hours. And
so what's it like when you're stuck in traffic? When you're not driving, you can just use the Steam Deck in your lap. Don't pay attention to the road. It's fine. I'm not going to advise that. That's a very bad idea. But no, so it's just trying to think of interesting ways to use it in upcoming content. That's all. But fingers crossed. I am holding out for that email sometime soon.
You know it'd be cool for that too. If you could, one day if they make a portable, whatever handheld device, if you could use it as a second monitor, as a portable monitor, you could plug something in and it could display.
Okay. Yeah, I suppose there must be some way of doing it, but
it's because I don't have this thing plugged into any monitor right now because I control it through my phone.
Yeah, I do the same with my TrueNAS. There's no monitor hooked up to it or any peripherals. So yeah, that'd be quite useful actually.
And yeah, every once in a while, sometimes I'm like, oh, let me just see what the status is on something, But
it'd be quite handy for your Twitch chat if you live stream at the same time, so you can have that up on the deck if you don't have a spare monitor. I guess that'd be quite handy as well. Well, it's perfectly capable of doing that. It doesn't need to be plugged in as a monitor. You could just have your Twitch chat live on it anyway. But that's an interesting use of it anyway. But I'm very excited to get my hands on it. I already know the very first game I'm going to play on it, which seems really boring. But I'm going to play Prince of Persia on it. It's always been a dream of mine to play the classic Prince of Persia games on a handheld, and now I finally can. So that'll probably be the very first thing I play on it. But then I'll play some more demanded stuff then, perhaps. I want to play some Resident Evil on it as well. I've been really getting into Resident Evil over the last couple of months. I don't know why. I was never that into it previously, but something happened. It was when I had COVID. I thought, damn, I'm gonna get into Resident Evil again. I played it years ago, but
is that the best game to play?
Yeah, it's it's a sign of things to come, But
you're practicing.
Exactly, that's it. But yeah, I'm really excited to get into it, but just gotta hold out and hope that it'll eventually arrive sometime soon. What else have we got for today, Jerry? This next topic I didn't get too informed on, but it's regarding Activision says we're innocent, honestly, and then just clears it up regarding, was this what it was going on with Bobby Kotick in particular, or is this company wide they were disputing this?
Let's see. A new report by Activision Blizzard has claimed there is no widespread harassment or systemic harassment at the company. In response to multiple lawsuits against the company, Activision Blizzard conducted its own investigation and has published the findings. Contrary to many of the allegations, the board and its external advisors have determined that there is no evidence to suggest that Activision Blizzard senior executives ever intentionally ignored or attempted to downplay the instances of gender harassment that occurred and were reported. While there are some substantiated instances of gender harassment, those unfortunate circumstances do not support the conclusion that Activision senior leadership, or the board were aware of and tolerated gender harassment, or that there was ever a systemic issue with harassment, discrimination, or retaliation. And then let's see. In addition, Activision Blizzard employee, former chair of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, Gilbert Casillas, to conduct a review. Based on his review, Mr. Casillas concluded that there was no widespread harassment pattern or practice of harassment or systemic harassment at Blizzard or any of its units. He concluded, based on the volume of reports, the amount of misconduct reflected is comparatively low for a company the size of Activision Blizzard.
When they say minor,
Okay.
do they not realize that? I'm sure there was a female worker who killed themselves over this.
Oh, that's terrible. I did not know that. And that's terrible. It says God, it says based on the volume of reports, it's comparatively low for a company the size of Activision Blizzard. Yeah, you know what? Blizzard is a huge company. So even if you say like 1%, 10%, what is that, like 20, 30 people? I feel like that's too much misconduct. You know,
I would argue any misconduct is not acceptable in that sort of situation. But yeah, I may don't take that for like certain like absolute guarantee. But I'm sure there was something about an employee that had been suffering from sexual harassment in some sort of form, and they may have like tried to commit suicide. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure it was something along those lines for one of the staff there.
Yeah, and I heard a lot of them were sexist, or a lot of the, maybe not a lot, but some people were being sexist and misogynistic towards the women too, including the sexual harassment. So a lot of them said it was a toxic environment. So I don't know how true that is or not, but I mean, that's not something to brag about. Like, well, you know, if you compare how many people we have and how many reports there are, it's not that bad. It's like, yeah, but even if it was 2 or 3, that could be a whole office, and that's just terrible for like a whole section, you know?
But I suppose it's the thing with the fact that they've decided that they've cleared any sort of wrongdoing in their own investigation, which I feel like that should have been something that maybe would have needed to be investigated a bit more thoroughly externally, I would argue.
Yeah, have an outside source.
But I still think it's a bit concerning how Bobby Kotick is still not really facing that much in the way of like disciplinary action, even with the fact that they're being bought out by Microsoft. Like he's still getting his paycheck at the end of the day. I'm not 100% sure if he is actually going to be leaving Activision once Microsoft fully acquires them. But you would think that would be something that Microsoft would be keen to stamp out like immediately and remove any sort of trace of that sort of activity from the past. I don't know. It seems like maybe what it could be is that they're trying to clear up as many of these like controversies as possible before the actual Activision acquisition. That sounds horrible if you say it like that. The Activision acquisition is cleared up before the deal is finalized.
I opened up the suit. I don't know if you want to do a quick little breakdown of it. It says that
go for it.
Female employees almost universally confirmed that working for defendants was akin to working in a frat house, which invariably involved male employees drinking and subjecting female employees to I'm going to say SH with no repercussion, because I don't know if you could say that without getting demonetized.
Like I think we get the idea though. That's the main thing anyway.
Yeah, okay. And it says the suit mentions cube crawls in which male employees proudly came into work hungover. I mean, that's not the worst thing there. Similarly, this is where it's bad. Similarly, male employees would play video games during work, engage in banter about their S encounters, talk openly about female bodies, and make numerous jokes about R word. As a product of this frat boy culture, women were subjected to numerous S comments and advances, and unwanted physical touching, and other forms of harassment. So,
but in other words, not a pleasant environment to work in, essentially. Regardless of whether you're in game development or like working in retail or in the fast food industry, it has no place whatsoever. Is the main thing we should be coming across, but. The fact that it seems to be like investigated so internally is more concerning. Not saying it should be investigated. It should not be investigated internally. It should be, of course, but I feel like they shouldn't just rely on that as their primary source of their investigation. But it's I know it's a very bad thing, but I feel that like Activision have done me dirty this week with something that's even more depressing. I say even more depressing. It's like minor in the grand scheme of things. But
I don't know. I don't know if it's more the worst, but
I
personally, I guess. Personally,
I framed that very wrong then. But I had to drop it. But yeah, that's the news that Activision
we'll
have.
cut that.
No, this is live and raw. We're taking things as it comes. But yeah, so if you weren't aware of this, I think we touched on this briefly last week when we were talking about some stuff on stream, and Activision have actually cancelled a planned remake of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. I am absolutely raging because I absolutely loved the 1 and 2 remake. I thought that it was really well done. Now, I think you said you haven't played the remake yet, have you?
No, I didn't play the remake, but I played the original, so I get the gist of it.
So when I say that it was a pretty apt remake and caught a lot of the spirit of the original games, that's something that you'd obviously be pretty pleased with and appreciative of, because they did Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 and that was not very good at all.
Do you have this game on Steam?
You can't get it on Steam. It's only on Epic at the moment. But
I was gonna say this would have been a nice game to play on the Steam Deck. I feel like.
Well, yeah, I reckon you could still play it on there. There are hacks to get Epic games to work on Steam Deck. I don't know how well it runs on there in the first place, but it would be a really good one to play. But anyway, so if we look back at the 1 and 2 remake, I thought it was really well done, and you could sit down, like, if you played it, you'd be playing like the exact same way you played the originals back in the day, which is the most important thing for these kinds of remakes. And obviously it caught the spirit of like the original soundtrack, which is one of the most iconic things of the game. Not all the songs from the original made it in, but they've got the important ones, as well as some newcomers on the soundtrack as well. But nice. All the classic levels, everything you would like to see in there. Create a Skater, Create a Park, all that stuff with updated graphics, and it played like an absolute dream. And I can't remember the name of the streamer, but he was streaming Tony Hawk's Pro Skater while actually chatting with Tony Hawk live on air. And so what Tony Hawk explained was that Vicarious Visions, who originally developed the Pro Skater 1 and 2 remake, actually folded since Activision have been acquired by Microsoft, and instead, Activision decided to reach out to other developers to do a 3 and 4 remake, and they didn't come across any sort of bids that piqued their interest, so they decided to shelve the series entirely, because they decided they didn't want to work with Vicarious Visions anymore, even though they've been absolutely spectacular in the way that they've handled remakes, not just for Tony Hawk's, but they also did the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy, which I played that, and that was a really good remake as well. The same reason. It was capturing the spirit of the original Crash Bandicoot games. They did a Spyro remake. I haven't played that one, but I'm guessing that
I heard that one's good.
So they must have caught the spirit with that as well. Was it? They may have done some other ones, but the gist is Vicarious Visions know their stuff and know how to remake a game and keep it true to what the fans would like to play. So I saw it summed up really well. Like, you know that meme from the Eric Andre show where he shoots Hannibal Buress on the sofa?
Yeah.
There's one is like, he's like, Eric Andre is for Activision and Hannibal is Vicarious Visions. So he's getting shot and he's like, why would Vicarious Visions do this? Which sums it up pretty well, but I was so disappointed. I really wanted to see them go through 3 and 4 and then maybe even do a remake of Tony Hawk's Underground, which I would argue is like the most definitive game of my entire childhood.
I was gonna ask you if you ever played those, but I can agree. Those games are awesome. Thug?
Absolutely. But they were games that were so crucial to a lot of things. It sounds like have you ever like researched chaos theory, or is that something you've ever like come across with like just anything in general?
I remember Tony Hawk's Underground. What's it called? The combos were insane. You could just chain them. You could just chain. I don't know. Just. I know that's the whole point of the games, but like to everything. I remember like there was just this whole. I do a chain all around town, just grinding and doing kickflips and whatnot.
What I used to do was I would use, like, sometimes if I'm feeling a bit like a bit frisky, I'd use some cheat codes, and
Oh, nice.
I would set like the ultimate grind. I don't know what it's called now, but perfect grind. So you don't have to balance your grind. And I would set to go on like a circular rail, leave it go to school, leave it running, and come back, and I'm like, oh wow, look at my high score. But no, so like. What I mean by, maybe not, chaos theory might not be the right term to use for it, but it's the idea that one small action creates like a larger action, or butterfly effect.
Yeah, there's a butterfly effect.
So the way I look at that is that the Tony Hawk's Pro Skate games were absolutely, like, they defined my childhood gaming experiences, as well as the fact that they were games that actually got me interested in skateboarding, because I was really into skateboarding when I was younger, and I probably stopped when I was about legal drinking age. Maybe that makes it sound a bit bad, but
so in what country?
In the UK, we'll say, but no. So yeah, like I probably stopped around the time. Like I got a bit caught up then because I was starting to play in a band as well by then. But for skateboarding itself, I then discovered my passion for video editing. Because I would start filming skateboarding videos, and I'd edit them at home on Windows Movie Maker back in the day, And so that was like my introduction to like video editing and stuff like that. And that branched off to I had like other forays into like video projects and stuff like that. And then let's lead it up to a couple of years later where I'm like, wow, I'd really love to start making videos now that I have like I'm into like really like high end computer components, and like again, these builds are great for gaming, but I'd love to edit videos again. And eventually I found something to edit, and that was what you're watching now, the YouTube channel. So, in a way, I like to say that you could accredit my love of Tony Hawk's, leading to skateboarding, leading to everything I like to do now with the channel, and the fact that I like to just talk about computer hardware. Leading from the fact that I like to make videos, and I like to make videos because I learned how to do it from skateboarding. I got into skateboarding because of Tony Hawk's. So it's a series that is very dear to my heart, and to see Activision completely toss it aside for no reason is very saddening. Yeah. I know I may have gone a bit overboard on that, with a bit too emotionally invested in it. But what was your thoughts on seeing 3 and 4 cancelled?
I'm gonna break your heart, but I didn't really care too much.
That's gonna be it for today, guys. That's it.
Yeah. I didn't play the other remakes. I've played them before. I don't really see myself playing them again. The thing that I hate about remakes is I feel like they're too expensive, man. And I know they put a lot of work.
I can understand that.
They put a lot of work into it, but it's just like I could buy a newer game that I haven't played for the same price, and I'll probably play that. Like I just bought the Diablo 2 Resurrected, which is the Diablo 2 remake. I bought that for $20 on sale. So when they go on sale, I'll try them out. You know me. But I mean, it does suck because I did like those Tony Hawk games, and then I was hoping that eventually this would lead to Underground. So that sucks there because that's one I really want to play again. That one was like almost, it was an open world, but it was more
it's more like story driven.
Yeah.
Because they actually had like the sort of plot of like becoming sponsored and traveling and doing like touring the country and stuff like that, whereas Pro Skater was more arcade based, I would say.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. Yeah, you have arenas and do missions. This is kind of not as random, but do you watch Jay's 2 Cents?
Yes, I was going to bring that up as well. So you've seen the video, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I was going to say his special guest.
Yes, if anyone isn't aware in the chat, basically, Jay's 2 Cents, a moderately big YouTuber. Basically, obviously, he's quite well known for his celebrity builds. Like he did a PC build for Terry Crews, and he did one for Post Malone. Yeah, Post Malone as well. And he has now revealed that he's going to be doing a PC build for the legend himself, Tony Hawk, which I think is opened up a whole world of possibilities in the way you could design a skateboarding themed computer. Like I don't know how he's going to do it, but
he said the theme's going to be like a swimming pool, like back in the days,
like the backyard
when they
pools.
would skate. Yeah, when they would skate in the pools. You want to put like graffiti on it and stuff, and I think that's pretty cool because Tony Hawk now everyone knows him as a professional skater, but he did come from, underground
Oh
level
yeah,
once upon a
definitely.
time. So I'm sure Tony Hawk would probably appreciate seeing that, however that comes out.
And it's gonna be cool as well
And
seeing Jay's 2 cents actually meeting Tony Hawk as well, because I think he's gonna say he's gonna hand deliver it to Tony Hawk's home as well, which would
yeah,
be pretty cool. Because they did the same thing with Terry Crews. They actually delivered it to. Oh, they did it for and Post Malone.
yeah.
They.
Terry Crews had a crazy penthouse or whatever the heck he lived.
Yeah, but are you aware of his like involvement with PC gaming in general? Have you seen the videos where he talks about it?
Who? Terry Crews?
Yeah, so how he got into like PCs in general was just to get more involved with his son because his son's really into PC gaming. So I
Oh,
think he
that's
said
cool.
he built his own he built a PC for his son first. But he
Yeah.
said he went through the whole process. He built it himself, powered it on, nothing happened. So he was having one of
Oh,
those panics. But he went for the effort to actually build the computer himself. And his reaction to seeing the custom build from Jay's 2 cents made it all worthwhile because he went absolutely insane. And there was like nice
yeah.
features like this is gonna go over my head because I'm not into American football. But for you, it's just regular football. For me, it's American football. But they got a specific kit of memory or RAM, as in they got a kit because of the Rams because he was a member of the team for the Rams, and it was a limited run of that particular type of memory, and the number that he got was the number that he was playing as a football player, I
Yeah.
think. That's a really nice personal touch. So it was like the Rams football team, kit of RAM, the number is the actual number he had in the game. So it was little things like that, and then obviously he went all in on the Allspice theme, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, the red and white build.
I'd be interested to see how that system is holding up today, because I'm assuming that takes a lot of maintenance with that custom loop as well, which is probably a bit more
Yeah.
concerning. But Post Malone's build was good. I preferred Terry Crews' one. Post Malone took forever. I think he had absolute
Yeah.
nightmare getting that over to him. But this one for Tony Hawk is going to be pretty interesting in the way they do it, and I think he said it's going to be a bit more streamlined and maybe even like air cooled to keep things a bit simpler.
Yeah.
But I think he's got a lot of options he could do for it, and we can now say that Tony Hawk is now like a member of the PC Master Race. You know, he's
that's
following in
true.
the steps of Henry Cavill, The Witcher, Superman. You know, so it's cool to see that he's going to be getting involved in it as well. And I wonder what his reason is for just getting a PC. Is it just for gaming, or is he like using that for other work? Like maybe I don't know if he makes his own like skate videos or stuff like that.
Well, he does have a podcast, Tony Hawk.
That's true. Maybe that's why he's
So
after a new system.
so maybe that'll help him out too. I mean, he's probably not the editor, but I'm sure there's no way that he doesn't need to use computers sometimes for editing or not editing, but for anything to do with his business podcast. Because obviously, these people are always working on something.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, I could see that. And then he did say he was gonna put in a 3090 or 3090 Ti, probably. So he's gonna join me.
You could say you've currently got a better system than Tony Hawk's. So for the time being,
Yeah.
well, only
Well, I
moderately.
think you have a better. Everyone has a better system than Tony Hawk because it's not built yet.
Yeah, but can your PC do a 900? You know, that's
Yeah,
the
let me
one
throw it
thing.
out this window.
We give it a go.
I can make
But,
it good.
what you could do is put a pair of skateboarding trucks on the side of the case, and then he can actually skate the computer.
Do a kickflip.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was gonna say when he gives it to Tony Hawk, he could put it on a skateboard and push it towards him.
That is something I used to do a lot of the times with my skateboards. Use it for not transporting myself, but transporting heavy goods. There's always a plus side to everything on there.
I was gonna say,
So,
what do you think of Tony Hawk as a person and celebrity? Because I grew up pretty much the Tony Hawk Pro Skater is how I knew Tony Hawk, and growing up, he's still like a humble guy. The memes of like, hey, you look like Tony Hawk. It seems like he embraces it. He enjoys life. There's been videos of him like rolling down the window of his car and saying like, hey, do a kickflip to people skating. So it seems like he's still an awesome person.
I feel
even though
that even though he has obviously like made his millions over the years, he has still tried to remain humble and give back. Like if we look at like what he does for the skateboarding community, like he does a lot of work with building skate parks in like less developed areas, or like he does a lot of work in Africa, like building skate parks over there. Or I think he was involved in. There was a particular scheme with young girl skaters in Pakistan, and they actually did a film, I think, about it. And he was involved with that, with getting them skateboarding parts and like getting parks set up and stuff like that. So he does a lot to give back to the like general community of skateboarding. But then also, even though he's rich, he doesn't act like someone that's rich until something comes up where he can be philanthropic and like just give away like millions for no reason, you know, something like that. But he still comes into the way, he still seems shocked enough that he's made it as far as he did. You'd argue maybe in like the sort of early 2000s, he kind of went pretty overboard in terms of, I always hate saying it, but like shilling for like companies and like stuff like that.
You can say merchandising.
Yeah, exactly. But I think he actually mentioned it in a documentary a couple of years ago where he was like, he didn't care who he got sponsored by as long as it kept money on the table for him to skate and support his family, basically. So he was like, he would have taken like a sponsorship from McDonald's, which seems like pretty like not quite apt for skateboarding in itself, but anything to like keep food on the table for his family and just keep on a skateboard. And
I remember. Oh, go for it. I'm sorry. Go for it.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say. I remember he said that in high school he started making money. Like he started making money in high school or early college. I think it was like the end of high school, because him doing his his tours, or him getting into skateboarding, his sponsors, and he bought a house when he was, I think, like a senior. So everyone would go party at his house, and everyone would go have a good time. And like you said, he almost sold the rights to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater because they wanted to give him a lump sum instead of royalties. And
That's it, yeah.
He took the royalties, so he ended up catching them big on that. So growing up, for his family, he still had to struggle, but I think that eventually kicked in pretty nicely to help him out.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's something that's going to pay off for years. Obviously, he's like making money elsewhere, like through like just being like a professional skateboarder in general. But like, he's got, I don't know, I think he's got two sons. The older one, Riley, is a professional skateboarder himself, so he's obviously doing fairly well on his own. The younger son, I don't know what he's doing, but like, no one in that family is going to be struggling for many generations, to say the least. But
I was gonna say, what do you think about sons or daughters taking up maybe not the sport, but like the sport or the mantle of their father or mother? Like they have a legendary career.
It seems like a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
But
it's pretty crazy.
If you're interested, I definitely like recommend checking out his older son Riley, and some of his skateboarding videos. Like I said, I used to be really into skateboarding myself and ride a lot. Not so much nowadays because I work full time and I need my hands and legs. So if I break those, I'd be a bit screwed, But I still keep up with it and watch some of the videos that pop up, especially on Instagram. Over the last couple of years, Instagram skateboarding videos have become absolutely huge. But I used to watch like the actual like dedicated like feature length videos mostly. But his son is doing really well, so I definitely recommend checking him out, because I would argue he's a better skater than Tony Hawk when it comes to vert skating, if that makes sense. But I'd recommend checking him out. I need to start like I know I've got the side channel. I might maybe I should get a skateboard again, and I'll start uploading skate videos again. Just to change up the content a little bit. It's like there's already videos of me about on YouTube skating anyway. I'm not gonna link them, but like people can find them if they want to have a look for them. But no, maybe that'd be interesting. Was that?
Katie and Jack.
Exactly, we'd be doing that. But no, it's an interesting idea though, like to see like if he would pass that mantle down, because he's 50 years old, or at least he's over 50 at the moment, and if he falls hard. Because I think he recently broke his knee. He was out of action for a good couple of months, and I don't even think he's fully back to it right now. He's skating again, but he's got to take his time now, because if he falls, he takes a long time to recover. But I think that comes for anyone at that age anyway. But the fact he can still skate to the ability he has now is a testament to just how incredible of a skateboarder he is in the first place. But I could have a full. I could do a full stream talking about Tony Hawk. But it's not so much PC related unless you think about the Jay's 2 cents video, I suppose. But
Yeah.
how about we get back to some of the topics for this evening, so we
Yeah.
can go on to our
We can
penultimate
switch over.
story if you like. So have you been keeping up with Intel's GPUs, Jerry?
Yeah, I have been, and well, the news we're gonna give you, I don't know if you guys are gonna be too happy about. We go from old man in his craft to the new guys on the block, and well, PC Jack can let you know what he thinks about that.
Exactly. Well, I'm gonna try and I'm still being I'm not touching my computer because I think my
Oh,
computer is
well.
possessed at the moment. But
Oh yeah, I forgot.
the gist is, so if we take a look on here now, so if you weren't aware, Intel's Arc A380 has extremely poor performance compared to cards from over 3 years ago, which is not the best, because you would hope that with the sort of issues we've been seeing with the market currently, you'd want to see a bit more competition coming from Intel. And it doesn't seem like it. So if you take a look at this now, I'm just going to read this off my phone, because like I said, I feel I could look at my computer the wrong way at the moment and something will just blow up, you know. So Intel's first discrete graphics card, the Arc A380, has been released in China exclusively, just to make sure
In China.
in China only. There's a whole myriad of reasons why they would just do that in itself, but that's fine. But yeah, so that's a bit of a shame, but it has at least allowed Intel to stick to its aim of getting the discrete Arc GPUs released early this year, even if it is just a single region and only via OEMs right now. Even that as well is a bit more annoying that they're only recently the OEMs. But the first benchmark of Intel's mainstream card came out with the first reviews out of China, but now Intel has provided us with its reviewer's guide containing far more benchmark numbers across a swathe of games. Though it has to be said, you always got to take official benchmark results with a pinch of salt, as they are generally going to be carried out under optimum conditions, which can sometimes skew the results. So basically what they have clarified though is that performance is not looking where it should be for this kind of card, as it's coming up just behind the GTX 1650 and the newly released AMD RX 6400 when it comes to gaming performance. Now, this is only one SKU, we have to bear in mind, and this is coming from sources we can't quite quantify at the moment until we get some more content out there. But I was hearing rumors that it was going to be more closely competing with the RTX 3070, which even in itself, that's competing with a card that's nearly 2 years old at this point as well. But that would be a pretty... We wouldn't expect them to come out the gate fully swinging and properly knocking down Nvidia or AMD. We want them to have a modest mark on the industry as a whole. But with this news, it seems a little more less likely, if that makes sense. So what are your thoughts on the A380, Jerry? Are you quite surprised by this, or are you still holding out hope for these later SKUs?
Yeah, this actually caught me off guard. I feel like, I mean, I know that they told us that they weren't going to be competing with the higher range of AMD and Nvidia, which, is fine. But I feel like they should... This is worse than the RX 6400. Is it going to be cheaper? I mean, I still don't see anyone that would want to buy this. But even if it was cheaper, then maybe. But at the same time, I feel like they should have aimed a little higher for their lowest tier card. Maybe try to compete against the 6600 and the 3060. That could be that could have been something they could have aimed for. And if they couldn't get to that, a little cheaper, because that to me is pretty much entry level for the newer series now, right?
Oh, pretty much. The one thing I think it did have going for it was the fact that it did have, I can't remember the name of the exact codec now, but it's one of the first cards to introduce a new encoding codec, which could be adapted further down the line. So if you want to get on board with that, that'd be quite cool. But for the time being, it's not really going to be that important for most people. But that is the one thing you could bear in mind, that this could have some sort of more enterprise application when it comes to more lower end enterprise setups. But in terms of gaming though, I don't think it's particularly compelling as it is at the moment. But like I said, we still need to see something. It sounds a bit strange, but we need to see it introduced to Western media, and we'll get some more interesting and relatable sources it sounds a bit harsh to say that, but obviously, like, we have limited access to some sort of media outlets in China, so things can get lost in translation as well, which is very important to consider. So we need to see something come across the pond, and to a lot of the usual people you would see these reviews from, who would have a bit more, what's the word to say, more interest in it as a consumer product, not an OEM product, because it doesn't matter how good it is unless you can get it into the hands of gamers who will actually be able to use these cards. But as an OEM component, that does limit its release quite significantly. So I'd be interested to see if it does come out anytime soon. But what were we thinking it was going to come out like March, and then it got delayed, and now it's been like delegated to just China. So it's just changing day by day at this rate.
Yeah, and then the closer we get to the newer gen of cards, I feel the worse it is for Intel, because everyone's gonna lose focus on this and just be like, oh, the new Nvidia card is coming out, you know, the new whatever. Everyone's gonna be paying attention to that, because I mean those cards are interesting, right?
Exactly, so, yeah. And if like we're looking at like potentially like midsummer, like early Q4 release for this new hardware, we are going to be like, Intel's going to have a tough time catching up, because they haven't even caught up with previous generation, and there's a new generation out, which makes things even worse. But I'm holding out hope, especially with like some of the like the one thing, it's not quite relevant to the, like, if we're looking at gaming performance, but the one thing Intel has really struggled with like over the years is an absolutely horrendous like appeal as a company towards gamers, especially with their like presentations, which are like purely like the most like oblivious marketing like generators possible. So getting your key marketing keywords in there, using your hands like this. Do you know what I mean? When they have like these presentations where they're like saying like, we're bringing games to you, and
they're
really,
they're not consumer friendly.
Exactly. And I think Gamers Nexus has ripped into them too much with this, because they keep bringing up the thanks Steve thing all the time from there. But I don't know if you've been keeping up with Intel's graphic architect, Raja Koduri. I'm not sure his exact job title, but Raja Koduri has been responsible for a lot of the developments when it comes to Intel's discrete graphics. And they seem to have given him free reign in, not so much in terms of like promoting their hardware at the moment, but generating a decent level of buzz by showing like the engineers getting hard work bringing these to consumers. And obviously Raja Koduri's had a pretty like storied past. Like, I believe he worked with AMD on Polaris GPUs, so it would have been like the RX 480, 580, that lineup. I could be wrong on that, but I'm sure he's worked with AMD previously anyway. But they're letting Raja like do his thing and actually like give gamers something more tangible to look at, rather than like a really boring press release. Now that's obviously like delegated to, like, if you follow Raja Koduri on Twitter, but it's still interesting to see that. But I do want to see something more promising from Intel sometime soon.
Yeah, and where do you think, what card or cards do you think they're gonna have to compete with for them to gain some interest in their cards? It doesn't like I said, it doesn't have to be the 3090, 6900, but it can be a lot lower than that. But I'll tell you.
Go on. What was yours?
I was gonna say they have to compete with the 3060 Ti and the 6700 XT for me to consider them to be in the game.
So you would at least want them to be like hitting like that mid-range level of PC hardware at least.
Yeah.
So at least you could like
1440p.
1440p or 1080p high refresh rate would be the goal, I think. That's pretty optimal. Like if you were to look at like the Steam hardware survey, you'd see that 1080p, well, I think 1080p 60Hz is still the most popular resolution and refresh rate for gaming at the moment, which I could argue is that's a very low barrier to entry, 1080p 60Hz, as it is at the moment. So they could at least hit what the average person is looking to get out of a system. And I'm not too sure if the 1060 is still the most popular card on Steam either as well. But I feel at this point it's not very difficult to top the 1060. And considering it's like legendary status as like one of the most popular cards for the last couple of years, it would be interesting to see if they could top hold that performance. So, excuse me. So if they were to beat it out in that regard and offer something that is more compelling to a mid-range system, not so much in sort of like terms of like sort of like high-end hardware aimed at like 4K and over. But that's what I'd be interested to see. But the rumored SKU that was going to compete against an RTX 3070, I'm still holding out hope that that is going to be the case. Doesn't have to beat the 3070, but I would at least like to see it try, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like that's in the same range. I just said 3060 Ti because that's a nice card too for the price. Well, they've gotten a lot more expensive. The 6700 XT to me is I think is the card to choose now because the price to performance, it beats the 3070 in some games. You know, they've dropped down significantly. So people that have what you said, the 1060, let's just say they're gonna upgrade. They're not they're not gonna want to spend the most expensive, but they're like, hey, I had the 1060. Why not get the 3060 Ti or the 3070? You know, Nvidia's been good to me, or obviously the 6700 to compete with those. So if for some reason they can get a card that competes with those that's cheaper or around the same price, maybe they can persuade some people and they can get some good reviews. But I'm not too sure what Intel's plan is. Well, no one knows.
I was gonna say, I don't think anyone knows at this rate now. It's a bit all over the shop. But like we have dabbled a bit with Intel Arc discussions on TechFlashback, so it's always good to revisit them and see exactly where they're at. But we'll keep looking at it as it develops over time, because obviously we're still in we just got over the second half of 2022, so things could change as we lead up into the fall, but only time will tell, I would guess. But how about we get into our final story for today, Jerry? And I'm going to let you take the lead on this one, because I thought this was quite a funny article you sent me. I think it was yesterday, I believe. But
yeah, so
take it away.
As of June 27, 2022, 3:35 a.m., whether it's true or not, but this is what IFL Science says. They posted an article saying that crypto-themed restaurant no longer accepts cryptocurrency as payment. And let's see, the crypto-themed restaurant, Bored and Hungry, from Long Beach, California, they accepted cryptocurrencies in return for burgers earlier this year. They even bragged that it was the first restaurant to accept Ethereum and ApeCoin as a payment. And then it says, following the crypto crash, the restaurant has stopped accepting the volatile currencies and is only accepting regular US dollars, the LA Times reports. Despite finding a market of people who want to look at pictures of bored apes while they eat, it's not clear how popular paying the bill using cryptocurrency was in the first place, with one diner telling the LA Times that people who have the currencies tend to want to hold on to them as an investment, even as those investments plummet.
Right. Now, if we look at that and see their entire theme is crypto, and they don't even accept crypto as a form of payment, that is just mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. What do you think about crypto?
I'm not too heavy. I'm a very risk-averse person. I don't the way I describe it is from well, you'd be aware of this. Obviously, I said a couple of months ago that I had actually finally got off vaping after many years, and that was a difficult enough process, and that's even more difficult because I feel like that's a really addictive process in itself, leading on from smoking or stuff like that. So when it comes to stuff if we look not at crypto but gambling, I don't gamble. I never have. I don't buy scratch cards. Do you have scratch cards in the US? I'm guessing you do.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
got them at convenience stores and grocery stores and stuff.
Yeah, so I don't use scratch cards. I don't do the lottery at all. I'm just very risk averse in that way, because I feel if I did start, I wouldn't stop. So I feel that I would be the exact same way when it comes to crypto, because I could buy in at a relatively decent time and see that investment go up and up and up and keep trying to ride that high, and then it dips, and I'm thinking, right, do I sell? Do I keep there? For me, it's a very dangerous position to be in. It's one I don't want to ever be in the first place. So that's why I stay very much clear of it. That's not to say it is a truly bad thing. Obviously, if you understand the system as it is and can get something out of it, then all the merrier to you. Obviously, you're a bit more involved in this, Jerry, because obviously you had your mining experience with setting up your rig as well, which I would assume means you do keep track of the market even more so than I would. Because my only sort of interest in the market is how it reflects on the GPU market as itself, in terms of being able to actually buy hardware. Not so much in the way it affects crypto as it is. So it's not something I could ever see myself getting into personally. I'll never say never, but it's not something I'd be interested in while it still affects the average person who just wants a graphics card to be able to game at the end of the day. Where I do feel a bit more conflicted is when it comes to NFTs, which I feel have been an absolute, well, just a buzzword for 2022. And NFTs I just really can't quite get on board with at the moment, but that is a very new trend, or just a form of crypto that we are yet to fully see explored, but it's being explored in a way which I feel is not apt, especially with a lot of game developers looking to implement NFTs into gaming as a whole, which I just don't see how it needs to be there in the first place. And a lot of celebrities jumping on the NFT bandwagon prematurely, I would argue. Do you remember Creed from The Office?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. The crazy guy.
Yeah. Do you see that he's promoting his own crypto coin at the moment? Not crypto coin, it was an NFT of Creed from The Office he's trying to sell on Instagram.
Yeah, that's funny. No, that's hilarious. I don't remember that episode.
That seems like something Creed from The Office would do. He'd be into NFTs. But,
yeah.
People like that, or I think I mentioned before, the voice actor Troy Baker was involved in a bit of a NFT debacle a couple of weeks ago. Faced massive backlash, and then a week later he was like, I am no longer getting involved in NFTs. So a lot of them are jumping in and don't seem to be, either aren't doing their research or trying their luck and seeing how it fares with their fan base, and it doesn't seem to be faring well at all for most of them. But
yeah.
So if we were to go back to for you, Jerry, so if we were to look at crypto before, I'd like to know what you want to know about what you think about NFTs as it is. But
I think the concept of NFTs is pretty interesting. I think since they're so new, people don't really know what to do with it yet. But I like the fact that you're able to get something and, well, they say it's not able to be copied, which is not true, with JPEGs and all that. You can literally just take a screenshot of it. But eventually, I think they'll be able to find a way to make it so you don't get, it can be your version of whatever, your Windows key. Obviously your NFT, so I like that idea. I think somehow they're going to implement it to video games, maybe, because digital currency, maybe you could purchase stuff like that. But I think NFTs are still in its infancy, and right now people are just using it to scam people for the most part, which I don't like, obviously.
Of course, yeah.
When it comes to crypto, I actually didn't mind for a long time. When I initially was doing my GP reviews, I didn't mind with them because I didn't feel right that there's people trying to get their cards and they couldn't because people were mining with them. So,
of course,
so literally I wouldn't mine, and then I didn't want to sell people graphics cards either, because I would review them and sell them to people that couldn't get their hands on them, because I live in a small town. And so I don't want to give someone something that was used like that. So I didn't really use the cards too much. They were pretty much brand new. So eventually, cards came back in stock. I had some leftover money, and so I figured I'll start mining. I had these graphics cards just laying here. They're pretty much backup cards, so I figured I might as well put them to use. So that's how I ended up mining this. And it's just more of an experiment, just to see what I can push with these cards more than anything, because I'm not really making too much money with it right now.
But this is where I don't have a problem with mining in itself, is that I like the idea of mining being able to allow consumers to make their money back on hardware. I think that's a totally legitimate way of using your cards for gaming and then deciding I want to make a bit of money back so I haven't made a total loss on these. I can totally get on board with that. Nvidia has kind of did try to cripple that a lot with their LHR designs, which was very quickly cracked down by anyone that had any sort of enterprise mining setup anyway. But
Yeah,
so if
I
you're
would say
trying to get, what's that?
they figured out how to crack that because Nvidia's information got leaked. I remember they got hacked, and with one of their leaks, the guy that figured out how to hack it, he looked up some of their information and figured out to code it.
Was this Lapsus dollar sign hacker group? I think it was. It became quite prevalent around the time Russia Ukraine war started kicking off, I believe. Good, there's a lot of hacks going on, like even right now anyway, because the war is just like enabling that even more so. But I think it might have been Lapsus that yeah, it's Lapsus or Lapsus dollar sign, I can't remember, something like that. But Lapsus hacked Nvidia, I believe, and released a lot of open source driver information closely around the time that they started open sourcing their drivers to Linux, which is quite funny. But yeah, it could be tied in with closely with that. But like, I think we're reaching a sort of breaking point with crypto right now, because if we're riding on like a nearly 2-year high for crypto at the moment, I would guess. It feels like it was like literally about, yeah, so like on the tail end of 2020, like crypto started to boom really high. So as you would expect, like if it's any sort of reflection of what the past has been like, is that nothing can last forever in that regard, and miners are flocking to sell their cards now. Like the actual prices, not even for used hardware, but retail prices are getting really good at the moment. I don't know if it's looking that way as much in the US at the moment, but over here in the UK, you can get 3070s for near enough between $500 to $600, which is drastically different to what it was 6 months ago. How is it looking for that then over on your end? Do you look at the used market as well?
I don't really look at the used market too much, just for the fact that I feel like the newer cards, brand new cards, are pretty cheap, as is. Nvidia, the prices of their card are pretty high compared to AMD right now. But I'm sure the used cards are really cheap as well, because, like I said, AMD brand new cards are cheap as is. So there's no way they're gonna cost more than that.
Yeah, exactly.
But you've been keeping an eye on it?
I do from time to time. I haven't been looking to look at much graphics card content on the channel as is, only because I'm not quite in a position to be. I don't want to do one and then never do one ever again, which is kind of the position I feel like I'm in since I did my last GPU review, because I haven't really covered them too much on the channel. But I did like covering the RX 6650 XT, but I need to wait for the right time to look at another card, and I want to. It'll probably be something, because I'm considering. What I want to do is get a stream and capture setup sorted, probably using my Alder Lake bench system as is. So I'd be looking to get a GPU for that, so I could possibly get on board with. I'd want to use NVENC encoder on that system in itself, but I don't know if I need too much GPU grunt in that regard. So I could probably go for either something like previous generation, or maybe something like a 3050 would be more than enough to handle that, just for some light encoding tasks. But being able to pass that off to a secondary system might be quite ideal at the moment as is. Like, I had a really fun time the other day doing, I don't know if you saw it, but I did a sort of benchmark video looking at the next-gen features on Resident Evil 7. And I captured quite a lot of footage for that, but a lot of it was captured locally, so I couldn't exactly make it like an accurate representation of performance. It was more just footage in the background I was capturing. But it'd be quite handy for stuff like that, and also the fact that I don't want to stream on Linux anymore. I think people have found that very clear over the last week or so. But a stream capture system could be quite ideal in that regard, and in that instance, I would be looking to get a new graphics card. But that's something for down the line. Like I'm still waiting to get that Steam Deck, you know. So like that's not my priority right now.
I agree. I know, like I said, I have this extra 3070 Ti. I thought about that too. So. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to have an extra NVIDIA card and a AMD card.
Oh, definitely. But like, I would look to I do want to try and do more content like that, where it's like sort of like Digital Foundry, where they're looking at sort of performance metrics and visual comparisons and stuff like that. But because I really enjoyed doing that one for Resident Evil, not just because it's a game I really enjoy, but it was quite interesting to see how those features work and like just sitting there extensively playing the exact sequence over and over again and looking for those differences in like RT low to high and how FSR is looking on each scale. So that might be something I'd implement more, and a stream capture system would be really ideal for that. And I can finally stop streaming on Linux because I think we're reaching breaking point right now.
Yeah.
But no, it's looking like it's getting more promising, and I think it's quite funny that we got to this, like just from the fact from a crypto themed restaurant not accepting crypto is quite interesting in itself. But no, I thought that was a story that'd be worth looking at on the show anyway. But no, I think we're looking like that's about it for today's episode, though. Was there anything else you wanted to bring up, Jerry?
Just a quick. Did you ever hear about the artesian builds?
Yes, I did keep up with that quite a lot. What was it you wanted to say about that?
Oh, I just since we're just talking about irony, so artesian builds, they had a giveaway. Someone won it. They deemed that person wasn't popular enough, or they weren't. We'll just say they weren't popular enough streamers, so they don't want to give it away to them because they feel like they wouldn't get enough clout back. It's kind of the gist of it, right?
Yeah, but they basically changed like the rules of the giveaway midstream, which in itself is extremely sketchy.
Yeah, so after they won it, they changed the rules, and eventually the backlash was terrible, and instead of them pivoting and trying to get back into good graces with people, they just closed down the business. They went bankrupt, and now they're auctioning off parts and builds of their.
But they're builds that people bought already.
Yeah, that people bought already, and were from streamers not like popular streamers, maybe not the most popular, but custom streamers, and like you could see that they have their hashtags on it or their YouTube names and Twitch names. And
I didn't realize that. I thought they were just like general like customers. I didn't realize it was like literally like streamer builds, so they had like custom designs and stuff.
They showed a picture of one and it had his hashtag on there.
That's shocking. I had no idea about that, but like, so what like. It sounds a bit strange. So, like, I know in the UK we're pretty far removed from that sort of like SI like system integrator. Were they that prevalent to like yourself over in the US before all this kicked off, or did you only hear about them when this all happened?
Yeah, I only heard about them once it happened. I didn't know. I didn't know about this company, and apparently they had two offices, one in San Francisco and one in New York. And the New York one is what was keeping them afloat, and then the San Francisco one was where the head guy was just mostly interested in streams and like clout and content.
But the thing I found the most disappointing about that whole thing was that artesian builds, or maybe not them so much, but the what's the guy's name, Noah or something like that, the guy who was the CEO. He had a really good opportunity to flip the narrative and show his side of the story. Well, I think we all knew his side of the story, but when Gamers Nexus reached out and said that like he'd be interested in doing some sort of content piece to not so much like slam artesian builds for what they did, but to make more of a positive spin on the story. I thought that was a great idea, but this Noah guy just did not seem to be on board with the idea whatsoever, and was trying to look to like take advantage of the situation with like a really like high profile content creator essentially. And really, they didn't really do anything in the end, but thankfully, Gamers Nexus did actually get. I think he got a bunch of CVs from the staff that used to work in artesian builds, and managed to pass those on to some of their industry contacts to try and get them some work after artesian builds went under, which I feel like is the best end to that story possible, because they just got completely done over by this Noah guy who just had no regard for his staff and for running like a legitimate and well-respected business, essentially, because he's probably not suffering. These other ones are, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So it's at least like they did like get a bit more of a positive spin on it with like a high-profile media like personality trying to reach out and help them in that regard. But that Noah guy can just kind of go and do one, because I'm even more astonished that they're trying to sell builds that are like custom designed, but custom designed in the sense that they have like someone's like streaming tag and stuff like that. That is unbelievable. I didn't know about that. Honestly, I knew they were selling them. I just didn't know they were that personal.
But yeah, so I just wanted to update you on that. I thought that was it. It is the whole I don't know, the whole irony of the business, of the crypto business just popped into my head when we were talking. So
Oh yeah, I could see that. I could see that sort of tying in. So that does make sense. But it's also interesting seeing how quickly that folded. They literally speed ran bankruptcy in like a week, which
yeah,
is interesting to see the power of the internet working in that kind of way. And hopefully, those people who do work for Artesian Builds do find their own way of getting around that debacle and continuing with their lives. And also, the people who bought these systems and aren't getting them are being reimbursed in some sort of other way. But I'm sure we'd have to
yeah. I hope
keep
they get their money back.
fingers crossed. That'd be ideal, but we'll have to wait and see. So I think we'll draw it at a close for today. So that is the end of Tech Flashback episode number 15. If you enjoyed it, then please feel free to like and subscribe for more streams and videos on the way soon. If you haven't yet, then make sure to check out Jerry's channel. You can see his links all in the video description. If you want to check out his channel, and check out his RTX 3090 Ti review coming out later this week, along with a bunch of other stuff, like you did a GPU support bracket review, which I thought was quite cool last week as well. And a bunch of all other stuff, as well as his streams. What are you streaming later today?
Yeah, I'll probably stream Halo. I gotta try to finish that campaign.
Nice. Well, make sure to check out Jerry's stream later on today as well. And also check out the PC Jack Discord if you'd like to talk to myself and Jerry and a bunch of other like-minded hardware enthusiasts about anything from PC gaming to builds, memes, you name it. Anything you want to talk about. And you'll also be able to see the setups that were included in the giveaway video, which will be going live tomorrow. So make sure to keep your eyes peeled on that. As well as checking out Jerry's Discord channel if you want to talk on there as well. It's also a really good channel. I'm quite a fan of the PC Parts in the Wild channel at the moment. There's some good stuff popping up on there. So yeah, make sure to check out in the video description. And yeah, we'll be back next Tuesday with episode number 16 at 7 p.m. BST. And we hope to see you there. But yeah, and thanks to everyone who stopped by in today's stream and for kindly not going too crazy with the fact I'm having so many issues with Linux at the moment. It won't be long. I think it's looking like we'll be back on Windows to streaming. I think it needs to be done. But yeah, that's besides the point. Anyway, thanks for stopping by, and we shall see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Have a good one, everybody.